Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be reviewing the 5th episode of Series 2 of Strange New Worlds, which was called Charades. Charades.
I was just about to say charades.
Whichever you want to go with. So this episode opens with Spock about to attend a dinner with his fiance's parents, and it coincides with Nurse Chapel planning to attend the Vulcan Archaeology Research Centre. So they decide to take a shuttle together, since they're both kind of heading in the same direction, and they come across an anomaly on one of Vulcan's moons, which seems odd that no one noticed.
Yeah, I thought that. I was like, I've never investigated it.
They've never investigated it. Vulcans have been spacefaring for quite some time, but they've never noticed this anomaly, this anomalous thing, which isn't ever really explained. It just is like a portal to another dimension, essentially. Anyway, the shuttle intersects with the anomaly, and then Spock wakes up back on the Enterprise, only to find that he is now human. Ooh. So original. So this episode happened at the end. So we have several supposedly humorous scenes of Spock acclimatising to being human, which makes everyone else on the ship quite uncomfortable. It's played for laughs. Did you find any of it funny?
No, like I say, I did cringe.
Yeah,
for quite a lot of it.
Yeah,
Ethan Peck does a really good job with it, but it's just.
I felt like we've seen this before in the last Spock episode, kind of a bit where it wasn't being human. It was body swapping, but they just seemed to be using Spock as comedy for every one of his episodes. But the crew contacts the anomaly, don't they? And it comes off as the aliens on the other side come off as almost like a help desk.
Yes,
that's not very helpful. Which again I think was played for laughs. It fell flat for me. I was like, I can see what you're doing.
Kind of like the aliens.
I didn't dislike it. I didn't find it particularly funny. We then had Spock's mother.
Yes,
comes
Amanda,
on board.
Yeah.
Amanda comes on board to assist with this dinner, because now it's been moved. They're going to have it on the ship.
Yeah, because Spock's injured.
Injured, exactly. So they attempt to pretend that nothing wrong has happened. They're giving some prosthetic ears, and they're going to train him to lie. Some of this I cringed, but I still enjoyed. So the scene where they're trying to teach him how to speak Vulcan, I liked and I hated in equal measure, and I can barely explain it.
It's funny because it's all the stereotypes
of
Vulcan that this episode addressed, and it's like things that we as fans would say, I think, more necessarily than anything. I did like the ears, because I thought it was very fourth wall breaking, because you just know those are his
actual prosthetic ears from the show. Yeah.
So I did like that.
The scene with all the girl crew members doing their Vulcan impressions. Like I said, I did find it funny, but I didn't want it. That's the best way I can put it. It was kind of, that was the part that I didn't laugh. I smirked a little. But again, it still wasn't particularly funny.
Yeah, I don't think anyone put a foot wrong in this episode.
Yeah.
It's just like you say, it was played for laughs, but it didn't come across that. And some people might find it funny, and some people will, but it was trying to do deadpan, but it was too cringy. Yeah. At the same time.
Yeah.
And so, like you say, everything just fell flat.
I didn't have a problem necessarily with the humour. I just think, again, the concept of it being a Spock comedy episode, just everything just felt tired, and things that should have worked, that I normally would have found funny or quaint, just fell for me on this one. I felt I've seen all of this before and better. I feel like they don't know what to do with Spock. I really feel like they're struggling on what to do with Spock. And so they keep coming back to the same kind of tropes with him, which is, let's make him the butt of the joke. I think they're trying to turn him into Data.
Yeah, I think I did struggle this episode. It wasn't the best. Like the actors were all on form, and it looked like they had fun with it.
Yes, they did.
I should imagine there was a little bit of ad-lib in there from
I would hope so, yeah. Well, I was going to say, they again gave a lot of the crew something to do again, or at least had a scene or something, which I approve of. They're doing that better this year. So they discovered that they've only got 24 hours that it can change Spock back to being part Vulcan.
Yeah.
And it's discovered that the aliens have essentially took a look at Chapel and said, this is a human. Took a look at Spock and said, oh, this one has human characteristics. It's broken, so we're going to put it together and fix it. And so they end up fixing him as full human, which is a mistake on their part. Chapel decides that she feels responsible, doesn't she? So she's determined to undo it. So whilst all the shenanigans of Spock learning to lie and preparing for this dinner are going on, she's attempting to try and find a cure to undo it, which she decides to go with Uhura and Ortegas back to the anomaly to directly ask for help because they can't figure out how to change it back. Back with the dinner, Pike is present for it, isn't he? He's also helping with the subterfuge, and culminates in Spock manages to convince everyone that he's Vulcan and that he's worthy. Nurse Chapel manages to deliver the cure in a hypo spray.
I found that
which seemed a bit odd. I thought they would have had to take Spock back to the anomaly if they're going to rejig his DNA and like put him back together again.
I just see maybe that they're that advanced medically that they just said, oh, this is the serum that you need to...
Spock's told that despite his disability of being part human, that he was successful in the endeavour, which he takes as an insult, and he admits that the whole thing has been a sham, that he's been human the entire time, and so their position of must need to be full Vulcan in order to do this is utter rubbish. And he bonds with his mother over it, doesn't he? He acknowledges some of the prejudice that his mother's had to live with, and decides he'd rather be on her side of the fence, and that she has true strength. Which was a nice moment. I like that part.
This is where I felt that added to Spock's character. Everything in that episode, it was the realisation he accepted his human side.
Yeah.
And, like I say, appreciate his mother. Again, a lot of episodes this season all seem to be about acceptance.
Yeah.
Seems to be the theme running through.
Does seem to be quite a bit.
The season. It was just comedy after comedy after comedy that the plot sort of got lost.
Yeah.
I thought Pike might have had a bit more urgency.
Yes.
You know, I can't be here. I'm actually going to go and sort out whatever this is and help.
Yeah.
You know, and it just seemed to, like you say, Chapel was the only one originally looking for a cure.
Yeah. There should have been some scenes with Pike in sick bay, trying to find out.
Wenger,
exactly.
When he walks in and she said, "Oh, I've tried everything in the back of your cupboards," and I'm like, "Well, shouldn't he, as the chief medical officer, have done all that?"
I thought that was a really dismissive way of speaking to him a bit. I also thought, because she also gets turned down for her acceptance scholarship, to the Vulcan Academy, and she's really snippy in return. I thought, that was a bit petulant. You know, you're not ready for me. I thought it was supposed to be a punch the air moment for her.
Yeah, instead of like, I've realised I'm in the right place now.
Yeah, I'm in the right place. I don't need you. Thank you for that. Which would have been, take the high ground, which would have been way better. But no, they chose to go with a dig, which, I don't know, the whole episode just felt very childishly written.
It was a knock at Vulcans, if you think about the entire episode.
There was a line. Vulcans are jerks.
Yeah.
And I literally I almost stopped the episode.
Taking all the cliches of a Vulcan and how we can poke fun at it.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work, because, again, Spock's one of the oldest characters in Star Trek. Everybody knows him inside and out.
Yeah.
Why do we need this?
The only thing I can think is if it's coming from a position of people that haven't seen the original series or haven't seen the original movies, that maybe it's like, okay, we're going to explore Vulcans for people that have no concept.
Picking the wrong character.
Yeah.
Because even people that don't watch Star Trek, know who Spock is. Everybody knows who Spock is. You do that to someone, they know. It's an emoji on your phone.
Well, at the moment, I feel like they're moving so far away from who Spock is. It's another one where I'm having trouble reconciling the character in Strange New Worlds with the character of who they are trying to depict. So I've got it with Nurse Chapel. I don't feel like Nurse Chapel is the same character at all.
I mean, the whole thing with Chapel, and it doesn't line up with her character. No. She's never once, expresses her martial arts or, running around the ship,
I get they want to make her more interesting, but it's just...
Like you've said before, they've looked at Trek 09, they saw Spock and Uhura worked.
I think that's what it is.
Who can we use this time? And they've gone for Chapel. I mean, how did you find the kiss at the end?
She came to his quarters and I sat there and I went, no, don't do this. And then Spock admitted his feelings and I had my head in my hands, and then I looked up and they kissed, and I was just... I hate it. I'll be honest. I can't stand it.
She's pretty much thrown him onto the bed as the camera cuts out. And I was just like, oh.
I hate it. It doesn't gel with anything that we've seen in the original series. Again, if this is another... If we're in a side universe, I'm still not too keen on it, but okay, maybe a little bit. But I hate it. I hate this entire plot line. I've hated it since they started it. They keep coming back to it. It's like they don't have anything for these two characters to do other than that, or be the butt of a joke. I hate it.
I'd have preferred if that episode had ended with them both realising that actually they can't be together.
Yes.
You know, Spock's realised through his human side, you've got to learn to reign, you know, as a Vulcan.
And that would have worked. You know, that would have worked with the original series. Well, yes, with their interactions.
She still fancies him in the original series, and things are very awkward between them, and it would have just fit in there. But instead, we're now supposed to believe that they've had potentially. I mean, so we'll see how it goes next week, but potentially a relationship coming up.
Yeah,
and going through that arc. Maybe it will fizzle out to a point where it sort of they split up, as it were, and it can't work.
I still think the damage has been done. With this, regardless of how they pan it out now, other than if they do a complete time retcon or they lose their memories or something silly like that. It came on to Lana at one point,
yes,
which made me go. Apparently, being human means that you go through puberty.
Yeah, but mind you, I suppose if he's never had those rush of, I know Vulcans have emotions and they suppress them, but
why is he going through teenage hormones though? I don't understand that. Like, he's got emotions, okay, but.
You know,
because they went through the whole, he's always hungry and all the rest of it. Okay, that's the hormone thing. That's not the same. I don't think these people understand biology either or anything. For instance, as well, another thing, I was like, why is it that just because he's human, it means he doesn't know how to use a comb?
Changed his hair.
His hair is messy the entire episode, and it's like, so he forgot how to comb his hair?
Is that... I think maybe more a play on the fact that when Spock's like everything's immaculate and perfectly fine, and now he's human, he's like, I don't care slightly as much because his hair wasn't messy.
I thought initially it was just because he was wearing the hat and he pulled the hat off, so his hair was messed.
I hated that hat.
So I thought maybe that's it. And maybe they just looked and went, "Oh, that's a good look. We'll stick with that the whole episode." But again, lazy. Stop it.
That hat there. And that's all because someone somewhere is going to sell those.
That hat's going to get sold for sure.
Yeah,
it was a setup and then hijinks.
Yeah.
I probably, to a degree, disproportionately disliked this episode based on everything that's come before this season. We did have a Spock episode, a comedy Spock episode in Series 1, and I didn't dislike it as much as this one. Spock Amok. Yeah. But I thought we've had it 2 seasons on the trot now. This time round, it can go bollocks.
We'll cut to credits there to cover up the F-bomb.
There was an F-bomb?
It was supposed to be when Spock sits up.
Yes, there was, yes.
What the...
Yes, there was,
and I did for a moment, because all the trailers had teased it, and I thought, I literally started going, this is where they're going, I've seen this so many times now, this is where they're going to cut to the credits, because I thought, there's no way they've learnt the lesson of F-bombs, or at least they seem to have now.
God, can you imagine if they'd have had Spock dropping
I don't think Strange New Worlds is a sweary show. I know Discovery's done it, Picard's done it, but... They've tried to target an adult audience with those, and whereas this is more family. But
yeah, so what else do you feel about this episode? I mean, I've made my feelings clear, and it's it. I've got a suggestion. While you're deleting stuff, Paramount, you can just delete this episode while you're at it.
Yeah,
it's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh, but
it was an illogical episode.
Mm-hmm. It's been a great season up until this point. We were due a clunker, and boy did this one deliver for me. I hate it. Other than one 2-minute scene involving his mother, every single other aspect of this episode fell completely flat to me.
And it's terrible again, because it's always that point where the actors didn't put a foot wrong. They all performed the episode and their roles.
Ethan Peck's great at comedy, which I wouldn't necessarily have expected
He's great at
from
Spock.
in
he
Discovery.
Just hasn't been given the writing.
No.
His Spock is good.
Mm-hmm. I'm disappointed. Kiva, disappointed in you.
I feel like we're missing...
You can do better.
The Trinity in Strange New Worlds.
Yes, we are. It's Spock, Bones, and Kirk. It should really be. I think it should be Mbenga. He'd be great with it.
I did like the callback to the suppressants for the smell, which is a callback. Like T'Pol mentions it in Enterprise when she first goes on board.
Oh, I forgot all about that. Yeah,
I can't remember if Tuvok ever mentioned it. I definitely know Spock didn't mention it.
I thought Pike kept his cool. They were quite rude to him.
Yes.
Well, the mother was actually. The
he was
father
he was loving it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was loving
yes,
it.
yeah. But yeah, it was a bottle show as well.
I'm normally fine with bottle shows.
No,
they can be creative.
No, I know, but I'm saying it was a bottle show. So it was like we've got a lazy script in the sense of.
I'm going to say some of my favourite episodes of bottle shows.
Yeah,
like Clues.
But you have to have a good script behind it.
I'll defend Clues till the day I goddamn die.
Got to have a good
Everyone
script.
says it's mid.
If the story's crap,
yes,
the bottle doesn't work.
No.
You know, I mean, we had a lot of pike cooking.
Yeah.
A lot of pike cooking. He spends more time in the kitchen than on the bridge, actually, I've noticed.
You're not the first person to say that. But he does spend... He's good in the kitchen.
He's good in the kitchen.
Basically, they should put Neelix in charge. He's a chef, so therefore he's also good at being a captain.
That fire was in there as well.
The fire was in there as well, yeah. Throw Neelix on the fire. No. Tuvix.
Episode
Actually, put this episode in the fire. So I reckon we're probably due for a rating in lights. 5 not 4. That's my catchphrase now. I'll have it on a t-shirt one day, 5 not 4. So you can go first. What's your rating in lights?
I'm going to give it a 1.5.
1.5?
It's not the worst episode in the world, but it's not far off. And obviously after everything that's come before it, I just can't justify... Thinking about my previous ratings of episodes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be harsh.
Yeah.
As I go through, and I've got to say this has been the worst of the bunch.
I'm going to fight through my hatred because I did like some of the performances in it, and I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5, not a 0.
We're going higher then. I was about to say something like you.
No, because screw this episode. I'll give it that tiny bit of a point because I thought everyone involved played their part with what they were given quite well. But the rest of it, I can just get in the bin. If I was going to watch a Spock episode, I'd watch Spock Amok. I wouldn't watch this one. I hated the ending.
Why was it one of the longest run times as well, out of the episodes?
Because they were trying to torture me. It's become personal, I feel. It's because we've gushed too much about this series so far. We've been too kind, and so they wanted to show us the error of our ways. I think my problem with this is it aimed low and it still missed.
Question is then, what would you like to see from a Spock episode?
Well, now you're asking.
You see.
I'd like to see him come into conflict with people more based on his Vulcan values.
So the total opposite to this episode, then.
Exactly the opposite to this episode. Strengthen the Vulcan side, not take it away from it. I'd like to give a special shout out to our guest star this episode, The Fly, that you may have seen buzzing around.
It's over there now.
We got him in special. He's a big fan of Enterprise, but, you know, everyone has their favourites. That's his.
He sometimes hovers around Discovery as well, because flies like to fly around.
Yeah, so if you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. We try and upload a new episode every single Sunday.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll see you in the next one and you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you soon.
Yep. Live long and prosper.